Good afternoon. I'm 14 First Alert meteorologist Arden Gregory, and today is still technically an alert day, although the odds of us having severe weather are very slim. There are just a few isolated storms still possible this afternoon and evening, and there's enough energy in the atmosphere that any storms that develop today would have the potential to produce some flooding or damaging wind threats. In addition to the storm chances today, we're also tracking some potentially dangerous heat, as we could have heat index values into the triple digits today, and then even more so tomorrow and Thursday before we cool things off a bit for the weekend. Looking at the individual threats for our storm chances today, we are sitting at a level 1 threat for a tornado, but then earlier today they bumped us up to a level 2 threat for damaging wind, and we're sitting at a level 2 threat for flooding as well. So the most likely scenario here is that we get a couple of isolated thunderstorms, and maybe one or two of those are capable of producing damaging wind gusts and some torrential rain that could lead to some flooding. But again, the overall threat is very isolated. The National Weather Service has continued our flood watch. It's been extended until 7 o'clock this evening, so we're still under a flood watch, again, for that potential that any storms that pop up may be capable of creating flooding problems, as they could dump some very heavy rain in a fairly short amount of time. We had more rain earlier this morning. Late last night into this morning, we had scattered showers and some thunderstorms, even some pretty heavy rain, especially across southwest Indiana earlier this morning, right along I-64 there. And then that rain, that more widespread rain, it really pushed out and off to the east by about 10-11 a.m. And then we were mainly dry through the middle part of the day here, but we've had just these very isolated thunderstorms popping up this afternoon. We've still got some thunderstorms down in Ohio and Muhlenberg counties, but the rest of the tri-state is dry. And I think that's going to be the trend through the rest of this afternoon and evening. We've got just a few very isolated showers and storms possible on through this evening, but most of us will probably stay dry. So a majority of the tri-state is done with the rain. But if one of these isolated thunderstorms does pop up where you are, just know that it may produce some flooding and some gusty winds as it rolls through. Those thunderstorm chances start to taper off overnight, although we may still get a little rain, mainly in the northeast corner of the tri-state through late tonight and early Wednesday morning. But I really think by the time folks are up and headed out the door, that rain will be out of the tri-state, and in fact tomorrow looks mostly sunny. So again, we've got just this very isolated chance of a few thunderstorms this afternoon and evening. We are still all sitting at that level 2 threat. So again, any storms that develop would have the potential to become severe, but many of us will end up staying dry. I really don't see a thunderstorm threat tomorrow. I think it's going to be mostly sunny. Then on Thursday, we're in this level 1 threat for an isolated strong to severe storm. Now, I do want to point out that I think most of Thursday will be dry and even mainly sunny. This is really for a chance of storms overnight Thursday night. We've got a cold front that's going to move through, and we've got a chance of rain late Thursday into early Friday. So that would mainly be an overnight storm threat. As for our temperatures, we're currently ranging anywhere from the mid 70s to low 90s, just depending on your location. You can really see where the rain has moved through this afternoon, as we've got some mid to upper 70s in Dundee, Greenville, and Madisonville. Then as you head farther to the north, Fairfield and Mount Vernon have been a little drier, sitting in the low 90s right now. It's 87 in Evansville, 88 in Newburgh, Owensboro, and Henderson, but it is humid out there. So not only is it a little hot, it feels even hotter when you factor in that humidity. Again, still noticeably cooler down to the south there, but where we've got these temperatures in the upper 80s or even low 90s, the heat index is sitting in the upper 90s to low triple digits. Evansville has a heat index of 99 right now. Henderson and Owensboro feeling like 100 degrees. So as we move forward with the afternoon, I still think we may tack on another degree or two before the day is over, even though it's mostly cloudy and there is that isolated chance of storms. Most of us will stay dry. Temperatures will top out in the upper 80s this afternoon. Then it's going to stay very warm and muggy through the overnight hours, only falling back into the mid 70s. Any chance of rain we see tonight will push out of here by early Wednesday morning. Tomorrow will be mostly sunny, hot, and humid. We haven't hit 90 in Evansville yet this year. I think tomorrow we will change that. Most of us will top out somewhere in the low 90s. A few spots might even get into the mid 90s. It is going to be seriously hot tomorrow, and not just that, it'll also still be humid. So as I just showed you today, the heat index peaking somewhere right around 100. I think the heat index could get as high as 105 or 106 in many locations tomorrow, and we still keep that heat going into Thursday as well. Then I mentioned that chance of storms overnight Thursday night. That's with a cold front that will then break the heat and humidity a little bit as we head into the weekend. There are heat advisories off to our north and west. Anywhere you see those orange boxes, those are heat advisories, which just kind of shows you we've got this intense heat just kind of lurking just west of the tri-state. So as any chance of thunderstorms kind of tapers off to the east tonight, that heat is what's going to move in behind it. So it's already steamy out there today. I will be interested to see if we see the heat advisory that is, just west of I-57 right now. I would not be shocked if we see that expanded to include part or even all of the tri-state tomorrow and or Thursday. So we'll just have to wait and see what the National Weather Service's decision is on that. But it will be very hot both tomorrow and Thursday. Then we've got that cold front moving through. We've got a chance of rain late Thursday into early Friday. That cools us back into the mid 80s for Friday and Saturday. Then another cold front moves through on Sunday, bringing us another chance of rain and another cool down. Our highs may only be in the upper 70s to low 80s then to start next week. Checking in on the comments here. Good afternoon, Suzanne, Jeanette, William. Has had about an inch of rain between yesterday and today. Laura, good afternoon. Ty, Cheyenne. Yeah, Thomas mentioning his weather station showed 90 last week with a heat index of 100 today. Yeah, there have been some spots that have made it to 90, but the official, where we, kind of keep the almanac, the records for Evansville, the thermometer at the Evansville Regional Airport, that's the one that hasn't hit 90 yet. We got really close though. Something to keep in mind if you need to get out and mow your grass, there is still that isolated chance of rain today, so just be aware of that. And every day's kind of got its problems. We've got that chance of rain late Thursday into early Friday, but then even on the days that it's going to be pretty dry, it's still going to be so hot that you really need to be mindful of what time of day you're getting out and doing these activities. Make sure that you're hydrating, especially if you're going to be doing something really strenuous, push mowing your yard or something like that, anything where you're going to be breaking a sweat. Just be very aware of that this week, as it is going to be hot and humid in a way that we haven't seen yet this summer. We've had some hot temperatures. Just this weekend we hit 88 and 89 in Evansville, but again, we haven't quite cracked 90 just yet. I do expect that to change tomorrow. We had some rain back last Monday, then we went a whole week without rain and got rain again yesterday. The rain gauge at the Evansville Regional Airport showed 0.64 inches of rain yesterday, and I haven't checked to see how much we've picked up today, as we have had some very scattered rain moving through. So some of you may have gotten some heavy rain today, while others have stayed mostly dry. It's been really hit or miss today. So the rainfall we got yesterday has helped out a little bit with our shortfall on rain there on the month and on the year, but we're still running about a little more than a ½ inch shy of where we should be for the month of June, and still more than 7 inches short so far this year, as we have had a very warm, very dry spring. Now, I mentioned our temperature trend earlier. It's going to be very hot and humid tomorrow and Thursday. These are the days that I'm really concerned that if you're not taking the proper precautions and you work outside, that heat could actually become dangerous. It's going to be highs in the low to mid 90s, heat index into the low triple digits, getting right up into the very edge of that danger zone where you could end up in some trouble with, heat exhaustion or even heat stroke, which can be deadly if you don't take the proper precautions, if you're not taking breaks and drinking plenty of water and things like that. So just be aware of that. We haven't really dealt with some serious heat yet this summer, but we are going to, even starting today, but more so into tomorrow and Thursday. Then we've got that cold front that cools us back into the mid 80s Friday, Saturday. Another cold front on Sunday cools us off even more. The extended outlook then does show the hotter weather pushing off to our southeast, cooler air off to our northwest, and the tri-state expected to kind of even back out. So we are expecting a cooler than average start to next week. Monday and Tuesday, we're looking highs upper 70s to low 80s, but then it does seem like we'll kind of moderate back out to more typical temperatures as we go through the rest of next week. Our precipitation outlook, though, still showing above average precipitation. So we are in this pattern here where we may have back-to-back frontal systems that kind of bring us rain every couple of days here for the foreseeable future. So that's good news, though. We need the rain. We have been working our way out of a springtime drought with this more active weather pattern here recently. So I'm not going to complain. We need any rain we can get still. Good afternoon, Jacqueline, Katie, Dawn, and Thomas. Again, just getting some comparisons. It seems like most folks are falling somewhere between 1/2 and 3/4 of an inch of rain, but some areas obviously have had more. As I mentioned, we had those just pockets of heavy rain as we've gone through the day today. They've been pretty short-lived, but you know, when it's raining, it's been pouring in many locations. All right, and yes, Paula says, it sure is humid. Yes, it is, Paula, and that's not going to get any better, which is why I'm concerned about these 90s tomorrow and Thursday feeling more like the triple digits, because that humidity, it just really impedes your body's ability to cool itself down. Our natural cooling mechanism is to sweat. So we sweat. The sweat evaporates off of our skin, and that evaporation, it's evaporative cooling. So when it evaporates the sweat off your skin, that brings your body temperature down. However, if it's humid and sticky, a lot of moisture in the air, your sweat struggles to evaporate. And so you keep sweating, but if it's not evaporating, you're not getting any cooler. So your body's trying to cool itself down, and it just can't. The natural method for which we cool ourselves is breaking down. And that's why we get so concerned about heat exhaustion and heat stroke when it's not just hot, but a humid heat, because that humidity is where your body's ability to naturally cool itself really starts to break down, and then you can overheat very quickly. So please be careful, especially if you work outside here over the next couple of days. And good afternoon to Jason as well. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Again, our rain chances for the rest of this afternoon are very isolated, but any storms that pop up could bring some very heavy rain and some gusty winds. So just be aware of that. Most of us will probably stay dry, but if you do get a thunderstorm, it could become strong or even severe. But again, that's a very isolated chance that that'll happen. We're starting to pivot away from the storm chances now and focus more on the heat. It is hot and humid out there this afternoon. It's going to get even hotter tomorrow and Thursday with our first widespread 90s of the year on tap here, and heat index values into the triple digits. We do have a cold front Thursday night. That brings us just a chance of rain late Thursday into early Friday. I wouldn't rule out an isolated strong to severe storm with that either. That cold front then cools us off a bit, looking at highs in the mid 80s then Friday and Saturday. For those storms Thursday night, again, I think we're looking at a damaging wind and heavy rain potential. So very similar to the threats we've been talking about today. It could be kind of windy as that front is moving through, and it could put down some heavy rain, since with all that humidity, there will be a lot of moisture available in the atmosphere. So heavy rain and some strong winds possible as those storms roll through Thursday night. But then highs only reach the mid 80s Friday and Saturday. That cold front does cool us down a bit. We've got another chance of rain on Sunday as yet another cold front passes through the tri-state, and that cools us down again. So overall, it's going to be very hot Wednesday and Thursday, but then our temperatures gradually trend down basically from that point forward. And by the start of next week, I think we could be looking at highs in the upper 70s to low 80s. So that'll be quite the cool down after being in the 90s middle of this week. That cooler weather won't last forever, though. We'll start to gradually warm back up to more typical highs for this time of year, which would be more like the mid 80s as we go into next week. Zach is asking about our chances of widespread severe weather. No, we're not expecting any widespread severe weather. Our chances of thunderstorms today, very isolated. Similar story Thursday night and a Friday morning, just a few showers and storms. I'm not even convinced the rain will be widespread, and our chances of strong to severe storms, very isolated. And similar story with the rain next week. I'm not even totally convinced that we'll get thunderstorms there. It may end up being just rain. So not expecting any widespread severe weather over the whole next 7 days, Zach. And Chris got 2¼ inches of rain. That's some pretty good rainfall there, Chris. You must have got caught under a downpour there. And yes, it is going to be just as hot. No matter where you're at in the tri-state, the heat still applies. Everybody's going to be into the 90s tomorrow. Everybody will be looking at heat index values at least into the upper 90s, maybe even the low triple digits. So while our rain chances are a bit more isolated, the heat is going to be a widespread threat where everyone is going to be dealing with hot, humid conditions for the next couple of days. And again, especially if you're going to be doing any work outside or be outside for any extended period of time, I would encourage that you drink lots of water, even when you're not thirsty, even when you're inside and you're nice and cool in the AC. Just sip water all day long to keep your body hydrated, and it'll just better prepare you for that heat potential that we're tracking for Wednesday and Thursday. So everybody just be careful out there. If you or a loved one work outside, check in on them this week. Make sure that they know how hot it's going to be and that they need to be hydrating. Everybody stay safe out there. This is our first real, genuine summer heat that we've had so far this year. So I don't want it to catch anybody off guard and have anybody get into any kind of trouble with heat exhaustion or heat stroke or things like that. All right, I'm not seeing any other questions, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Chief Meteorologist Jeff Lyons will have an updated look at your forecast on 14 News tonight at 4, 5, 6, and 10, and he'll have another streaming show here tonight at 9, so I hope you'll join him for that then. Everybody stay cool and have a good rest of your day.